Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Kashyap Dishitarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhans Parikacharya Astotar Sri Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhans Parikacharya Astotar Sri Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्त की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोधाम की जय. वृंदावन धाम की जय. मथुरा धाम की, मायापुर धाम की, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगा मई जमुना मई की जय. तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय. समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories to Assembly Glories. All glories to the Assembly Glories. All glories to Assembly Glories. All glories to Guru and Gauram.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, and today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 19, Text 33. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, I'll start with text 33. Naibat Mane.
33 or 32?
33, Maharaj.
33. Okay.
Okay. Naibat Mane Mahendraya Usam A Urtam Arhasi Ubhav Apihi Bhadramte Uttama Shloka Vigraha. Translation. Lord Brahma continued, let there be good fortune to both of you, for you and King Indra are both part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you should not be angry with King Indra, who is non-different from you. Any comments there, Guru Maharaj?
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutade Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatan. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, you should not show anger because he is non-different from you, since you are both avatars of the Lord. I don't think I need to add to that, unless there's some questions.
I have a question, Maharaj. Any idea where this sacrifice was taken place? According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, or I'm not sure.
No, I don't have any particular information about that.
In the chat, Praveen Prabhu writes, how do we see someone sinning and being wrong as part and parcel of the Lord?
Everyone's part and parcel of the Lord. He may be sinful, or he may be pious, or maybe on the transcendental platform. But Mami Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatan. Krishna says all these living beings are part of me. Okay, Praveen means representing the Lord. Yes, even sometimes, what is that? Apiche Sudharachara. Even though he may do something very wrong, sinful, Sudharachar, still he has to be considered saintly if he sticks to devotional service. So Lord Indra is one of the entrusted representatives of the Lord for material management of material creation. So even though he sometimes does something wrong, still he's considered in that category. Lord Brahma got in trouble more than one occasion. He stole the cows and calves. He got in trouble with his daughter. But he's not excluded. No, you're no longer a Gunavatar. We've held a meeting. You're not a Gunavatar anymore. We're kicking you out. Still, Sadhureva Samantavya. He's still honored. So, yeah, I think that answers your question.
So that verse in Bhagavad Gita really backs it out for these incidents.
Yeah, Krishna's not ungrateful. There's an incident in Detroit, Panchatattva will know of that, where our Govardhan Prabhu had gotten that mansion with the help of Ambarish Prabhu and Lekha Shravanti. And then after some time, I don't know how much time, but the devotees were dissatisfied with him, that he's not attending the programs, and he's not doing this and he's not doing that. He's not chanting his rounds. And so they held a meeting and they replaced him with another devotee. Because how can he be the president if he's not following? So that's what they did. And then next time Prabhupada visited, he asked, where's Govardhan? And well, Prabhupada, we held a meeting because he wasn't following, he wasn't chanting his rounds. How do you know he wasn't chanting his rounds? Are you chanting your rounds? Well, Prabhupada, he wasn't doing this. How do you, again, Prabhupada just wouldn't hear it. He said he has gotten this property for Krishna, and now he has gone away disappointed. So Prabhupada reinstated him. It's not that we just become callous. This person's done so much service, but now this or that, and so we just throw you out or remove you. Prabhupada wasn't so, so callous, so unappreciative, ungrateful. So Krishna also is not ungrateful. And well, sorry, Indra, you did all this service, but now you've screwed up, so you're out. You can clean the toilets. No, Krishna is grateful. Particularly devotional service is so valuable. Maybe the Gyanis, the Karmis, that's a different story. But the devotees are so dear to Krishna. Priyo, Mama Priya. And they're dear to me, Bhajanti Tumam Bhaktya. Mayi te shuchapya. Krishna says, they're in me and I'm in them. Or even a mixed devotee like Lord Indra's still doesn't go unappreciated. He's doing important service. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Shatafa Prabhu, are you available?
Sure. I just wanted to comment that I had heard the story as well. I joined in 1978, so I wasn't there at the time that it took place, but the devotees that told me about it, well, they expressed to me how much Govardhan loved Srila Prabhupada and how anyway, they realized that a mistake had been made. So, by Prabhupada's mercy. Text 34. Masmin Maharaja kritas machintam nisham mayasma vacha adritatma yad dhyayato dhyavahatam nukartum manotirushtam vishate tamondham. Translation. My dear king, do not be agitated and anxious because your sacrifices have not been properly executed due to providential impediments. Kindly take my words with great respect. We should always remember that if something happens by providential arrangement, we should not be very sorry. The more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of materialistic thought. Purport. Sometimes the saintly or very religious person also has to meet with reversals in life. Such incidents should be taken as providential. Although there may be sufficient cause for being unhappy, one should avoid counteracting such reversals. For the more we become implicated in rectifying such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of material anxiety. Lord Krishna has also advised us in this connection. We should tolerate things, instead of becoming agitated. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayādvaita Swami Niti Namine. So, right at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, right after the famous Dehinosmin Yata Dehe verse, how the living entity, the person travels from childhood to youth to old age and has to take another body. And implied there, of course, is, the vicissitudes of old age and disease and everything that comes with it. Krishna says in the next verse, Matraspashas tukantya shitosna sukadukada agama payano nityas tans ditiksha bharata. He calls for this tolerance. Difficulties are going to come and go and come and go and come and hang around for a while and then go and then, and so forth. And that is the pattern of material existence, which is inescapable as long as you are a conditioned soul and inhabiting material body and subject to the threefold miseries, fourfold miseries, birth, old age, disease, and that you can't. You can do things within reason to try to mitigate, but those things are going to be there. And Brahma is giving this really wonderful statement. It's so, I have a feeling that if I could enter into the Sanskrit itself and really understand it in a deep way, it would jump out at me as even more profound than what we find in this beautiful translation. He's speaking to him he's kindly take my words with great respect. He's being so understanding of Prithu Maharaj. He understands his psychology as a king. He understands that he's been upset at the behavior of Indra. He understands that he's recognized Indra's outrageous behavior. And that as a king, he feels duty-bound to address it in the strongest possible way. But he's pacifying him and giving him this higher understanding, transcendental understanding, and also asking him to respect Indra, which is quite amazing under the circumstances. And he's saying, actually, this is happening because of providence. We have to see this as, providential arrangement, divine arrangement beyond something that we can control as a kshatriya or whatever, beyond our ability to respond to, accept by tolerance and knowledge. So he's giving this very nice knowledge to Prithu Maharaj. And Prabhupada points out that reversals in life come to even saints and sages. They happen. These things happen and seemingly without them deserving it. Did the Pandavas deserve to be put through what they were put through? Did Queen Kunti deserve it? Did Srila Prabhupada deserve to go through so many, physical ailments and difficulties and heart attacks on the Jayādvaita? And, some things are just providential. And accordingly, great saintly personalities, they recognize it this way. There's that wonderful verse in the Bhagavatam 10th canto where Lord Brahma recognizes that a person who's tolerating all the difficulties in life, that seeming reversals and seemingly sinful reactions and so forth, but goes on engaging with his body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord, that person is on the path of liberation, of going back to Godhead, because that's his rightful claim. He has the right understanding. and the right focus. He's focused on Krishna and his love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he dismisses all these reversals as, well, this is actually probably something I was due. And I'm just getting a slight reaction compared to what should have happened. And I think any devotee who's made any sort of practical advancement in spiritual life has met with more than one situation where they go, yeah, boy, I deserved a lot worse than that. That was just a little pittance of a reaction compared to what should have come my way. So here we have Lord Brahma giving Prithu Maharaj a wonderful, wonderful instruction. Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj,
This is interesting. The more we try to rectify such reversal, the more we enter into the darkest region of material thought.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. A deep verse. In the past, Chintan, you were just worrying, you were disturbed, agitated. So nishamya asmad vacha adritatma. So consider my words very carefully, with respect. The adrita atma, very respectfully, nishamaya, very carefully consider. Yad dhyayato daivahatam nakartum. When yad dhyayatam, don't meditate on, don't obsess. The tendency is we have a plan, we have a goal, we have a direction, we have a program. And if the program gets derailed, the scene gets disrupted, the goal is thwarted, then we obsess. Just meditate on that. Why did this? Who? How could he? Why this, that, this, that? I should have done this. I still could do that. One becomes obsessive. One meditates and meditates on what's wrong and how to fix it. Jayādvaita, it becomes meditation. We could still undo it. We could still fix it. And here, nakartum, don't try. Why not? Daivahatam. This has been done by Daiva, by fate, by destiny, ultimately by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by divine arrangement. So who are you to fight with a divine arrangement or Krishna's arrangement? Daivahatam. By providential, that's the word Prabhupada uses. Providence is another epithet for the divinity, the personality of Godhead. Providentially, it's hata, what you wanted has been thwarted. So there's no use. I've cited several times, you can't fight City Hall. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has desired otherwise. Destiny has arranged things otherwise. So if you try to fight it, you're wasting your time. And not only are you wasting your time, but you're absorbing your mind. Mana atirusham, vishate tama antam. Your mind is just going to enter into anger and darkness. What is that? Nadakasyedam dwaram nashnamatmana atrividhar kama krodha tata lobhas tasmade tatrayam tyuje. 3 gates to hell, and one of them is anger. If one goes on and on, angry, because that's what happens. We obsess over something that's not fair. It's not right. It was unjust. It was this, it was that. And we obsess over it. And then naturally we become angry at the perpetrators, at those who've done this to me. And the result is we become more and more angry. And the anger doesn't help us. It just leads us into darker ignorance. So and Prabhupada adds, not adds, but renders it. The more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of materialistic thought. After all, what we're against is destiny. I've been wronged by destiny. That finally means Krishna has done me wrong. That's not a very high state of understanding. And when this happens among individuals, then we get enmity. I obsess over what you did to me. I obsess over the insult or the perfidy, or whatever it is that's wrong. And we become angry. You stole my this, you took my that, you promised this, but you did that. And then our thoughts become contaminated. The thoughts become contaminated. And we lose clarity. And finally, we lose Krishna consciousness. So I remember some months before my mother passed away, before she had her fall, and before she had her problem, she was moving from the south, from Florida to New York, and the moving company had messed something up, and things that she was sending up, some things were reaching on time and some things were delayed. And she called the moving company, and the company said this and that and this and that, and we had this problem and that problem, and it's going to take another 2 weeks and this and that. And she was angry and, thinking what to do and how to put more pressure on them or something. And I said to her, Mom, in India, we have a word, adjust, right? Yes, Mahesh Pandit's nodding. The attitude is that when something like that happens, all right, we can adjust. I won't have this for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. What is that in the larger scheme of universal affairs? So rather than be angry for 3 weeks and try to be, push it and move it and stop it from happening, reverse it, bring down thunder and lightning on the responsible parties. All right, let me adjust. And then, it will come. We can adjust. So that's, Prabhupada phrases that here as tolerate. Tam's tiksha support. All right, tolerate, adjust, and then it'll be all right. The mind becomes peaceful. I think Prabhupada says that. If we adjust, instead of becoming agitated, if we go on thinking, it should have been like this, it should have been like that, what can I do? I can still, then we just become more and more agitated But if we accept it, all right, then we become peaceful instead of agitated. And with a peaceful mind, one can think of Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, the Lord speaks to Prithu, who's meditating on the incomplete sacrifice. So he's, it's only 99, it's not 100, it's supposed to be 100. This Indra, he's gotten in the way. That's how one would think. We had a plan, 100. And so Jayādvaita, he's meditating on the incomplete sacrifice. Certainly the mind of the person who meditates on doing what is destroyed by fate enters into the deepest illusion. He does not attain peace. He does not attain peace. There's a comment in the box. What's that comment?
Ash Pandapuru, can you take posting from here?
Sure, yeah.
There's also a hand.
Devi has a hands up.
Pranams Param Pujya Maharaj and all the Vaishnavas. Well, we know there are different degrees of perfection in bhakti, and we know Prithu Maharaj is a pure devotee, and Indra has some ways to go before he gets to that same position. But although it's said here that it's a divine intervention, there could be confusion because some people may be acting because of dictations of Maya, and then they could assign that to divine intervention. Of course, we know that's not the case with Indra, because we know that he's operating out of envy. But I'm just thinking that, yes, Indra is still a devotee. He is correctly positioned because he is representative of Krishna. But yet the mistake he has made, which we can't say it's divine intervention directly, that's the repercussions of that mistake is so monumental. And yes, he's on his learning curve as well, as far as spiritual progress is concerned. But his action and his learning curve it has a huge cost to everyone else, because he's inciting these pseudo-religious practices. So I'm just thinking two things is that you can't, when we are operating under the modes of nature and we make choices which are mistakes, we can't always say that's all divine intervention. We have to take accountability that those are our mistakes that we made out of sense gratification. Okay, but we're learning, we're still under Krishna's protection because we're still trying to be a devotee, but our mistakes can have huge consequences to other people around us. So I'm just trying to sort of balance all this out. Hare Krishna.
There, you covered some sort of fairly broad territory there, I think, but taking the last thing, and maybe that was the point. It's not that this is supposed to be a way to write off our own errors. That I mess up and then I say, well, it was divine intervention. That's not recommended. I offended Vaishnavas. I did such and such abominable thing, but it was just divine intervention. So I assign it to fate, or I assign it to God. God made me do it. What can I say? And then I unload the responsibility. That's irresponsible. That's irresponsible. So that's not what being recommended here. The recommendation is in regard to the environment, including the people or other entities in it. When the environment goes against me, all right. Even in elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, Atma Kritam Vipakam, it's because of my own past misdeeds. What can I say? So that should be the point, not that I do anything and then say, well, God made me do it, or it was divinely ordained, or even Kamsa, he takes that position, and it's not very much appreciated when Durga appears before him and rebukes him for threatening to kill his sister. Then, oh, I'm so sorry, and you know, yes, I killed so many of your children, but that's the way fate ordained things, and you know, a complete write-off. I'm so sorry, but the devil made me do it, and so blame him, don't blame me. That's not even in the Bible, when Adam gets called out by God for eating the apple or fruit that he was forbidden to take. The woman that you gave me made me do it. So, you know, offloading the responsibility to someone else, that's not what's recommended here. Krishna doesn't say, find some scapegoat and you'll feel better. But when reversals happen to us, then we don't assign them, oh, this rascal, that rascal. Finally, it was ordained to happen that way. That was God's arrangement, or that was destined to happen to me because of my past misdeeds. So, all right, let me accept it. Let me not try to fight it. That's the point made here.
Thank you, Maharaj. Panchatattva writes, so close, one more, just one more. I have done 99, just one more. Yes,
Yeah,
Prithu
that prevents him from seeing the solution. Brahma, as we'll see, has a more detached point of view, and so he sees what's actually to be done. Whereas it appears that Prithu is just thinking, you know, in terms of, as you said, just one more, just one more. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
That detachment gives us clearer vision. As long as I'm obsessing on what I should have gotten, the way it should have been done, what was supposed to have happened, as long as I'm obsessing over that, that's going to warp my reality. That's going to dominate my thinking, and then I won't be able to see other things clearly. I'll just be blaming or looking for ways to set things right according to my calculation, and I'll become more disturbed. But when one becomes detached, he becomes peaceful. Hare Krishna.
Then Praveen Prabhu says, when one undergoes something traumatizing, it is very difficult to see the act of providence.
Yes, it's difficult. And if we're not able to do it, then we'll suffer. But this is the advice that go beyond this. Go beyond this. What is that? In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, Krishna just recommends that one should be self-situated and not be overcome by these vicissitudes.
Yeah, maybe at that time you might think about something very positive or some Bhagavad Gita verses, you know.
Yeah, think of Krishna. Think of this verse.
That's right. Thank you. Panchatattva Prabhu says, regarding King Indra, Lord Vishnu himself brings him to Prithu Maharaj's sacrifice so that Indra can beg forgiveness. Indra is no ordinary fellow.
Yes. Yes, he comes, Lord Vishnu comes with Indra.
And Saraswati Mata said, this yagna or Rajashri yagna is not on transcendental platform like Sankirtan Yagna.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a different kind of sacrifice.
Yes, this is recommended, especially for Kali Yuga, the Sankirtan Yagna. Yeah.
Yes. Rajasuya Yagya is among the sacrifices to be performed by a king. It's not explicitly kirtan.
So I would like to invite Radesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I was just reading one very small comment. I was just reading in Krishna Lila Stava, which of course all of the obeisances are written in vocative. So even Kamsa's atrocities are attributed to Krishna. Of course, Kamsa seeing it that way is his fault. But I was just reading this verse. You gave good judgment to Kamsa, whose heart was cleansed by fear when he recognized the evil of his acts. And you gave your father and mother the forbearance to congratulate him for his spiritual realization. Samshlagi, they congratulated him. So, we have Tom Statiksha Shvabharata mentioned by you, Guru Maharaj, and by Panchatattva Prabhu, and then we have Tatikshava Karunika, this quality of the Vaishnavas, Tatikshava, and okay, be the bigger man, be the bigger Vaishnava, you demonstrate more Tatikshava. All right, text 35.
And forgiveness also here.
Kshama, yeah.
That comes up in a later verse, then it's not just toleration, but forgiveness even.
Yeah, and that's in the verse in Krishna Lila Stava as well. Vasudeva and Devaki, they have Kshama for Kamsa. They glorify Kamsa Atma Jnana Samshlagi. They say, oh, you have very great Atma Jnana, and they Kshama, they completely forgive him. So, but anyway, it's very, very nuanced. Mm-hmm. There's a comment. Should we go to that before I read 35?
Yeah, please.
Saraswati Mata says, said Kamsa's Chankazi and Chaitanya Lila. All right, text 35. Kratur viramatang esha deveshu duravagraha dharma vyatikaro yatra pakhandar indra nirmitaihi. Lord Brahma continued, stop the performance of these sacrifices, for they have induced Indra to introduce so many irreligious aspects. You should know very well that even amongst the demigods, there are many unwanted desires. There are many competitors in ordinary business affairs, and the Karmakanda chapters of the Vedas sometimes cause competition and envy amongst karmis. A karmi must be envious because he wishes to enjoy material pleasures to their fullest extent. That is the material disease. Consequently, there is always competition among karmis, either in ordinary business affairs or in the performance of yajna. Lord Brahma's purpose was to end the competition between Lord Indra and Maharaj Prithu. Because Maharaj Prithu was a great devotee and incarnation of God, he was requested to stop the sacrifices so that Indra might not further introduce irreligious systems, which are always followed by criminal-minded people. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Gurudasa Jayādvaita Swami Namine. This competition topic is coming back, and I mentioned last class, of course, it's a very famous verse, Bhayam Dvitya Abhiniveshata Syat. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada translated it, perhaps very accurately to the Sanskrit, but I quoted yesterday Srila Prabhupada's translation, in which he takes Viparyo Smriti, this perverted consciousness, to mean that you're a competitor of Krishna's. You're a competitor. You make Krishna your competitor. And we're seeing, in these purports that when you make Providence your competitor, then you're up against quite an obstacle. And Nectar of Instruction says we shouldn't, that it destroys our bhakti to endeavor for things that are very difficult to obtain. You're going up against something insurmountable, so your bhakti is destroyed. And if bhaktyayika yesham Guru Deva Tatma, at the end of the Bhayam Dutya Bhiniveshata Syat verse. If bhakti is not your eka, your only goal, then karma and jnana will take priority. And in these endeavors, then kamopa bhoga parama, then you have this consciousness of kama being your highest priority, sense gratification. And then for those people, chintama parimeyamcha, we had in last verse, this chinta, this great anxiety overwhelms us. And so Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur takes deveshu duravagraha, this addiction to unwanted things amongst the demigods. He says Indra amongst the demigods is very stubborn, duravagraha. For those conversant in Sanskrit grammar, the avagraha is a stop, is a break. It's kind of like an S shape in Devanagari, or in English we put an apostrophe. But the avagraha also, it means a stop, a hindrance, something causing adverse effect. So duravagra, that which hinders your progress, stubbornness. So in this case, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is taking it, deveshu duravagraha. Among the demigods, Indra is particularly stubborn. So you please take a step down and don't encourage further, how is it translated? Further irreligious aspects. He's going to, you will induce Indra to perform such things. So take a step down. Guru Maharaj?
There's a little more context in Vishnu's commentary. He says, Brahma says, therefore, stop the sacrifice. And Prithu says, can't Indra be stopped? And then, no, among the Devatas, he's very stubborn. So it comes in that context. This point that Brahma's detached and wise. He's wise and detached. And so he settles up the matter. Sometimes, just from a practical point of view, where we're obsessing and we need someone who's not involved, who's detached, or he may be involved, but he's detached. And therefore he can correct us or steer us to a better path. That, all right, let it go. Let it go. On our own, we may find it difficult. Obsessing and Jayādvaita, meditating. But someone who's detached can see things more clearly, and so advises us that just let it go. And there's a higher thought here also, which perhaps we don't see when we're attached. We just want revenge, or we want to set things right, or we want to get what we're entitled to, and we don't recognize that our plan, our strategy for getting it the way we want it is maybe counterproductive or simply doomed. So we're stuck on it, but it's never going to work, and it's just going to cause us more anxiety, and it may even be counterproductive. Here, counterproductive, because if we just try to stop Indra, what will be the result? The result will be he'll do more of this nonsense. He'll find some more dresses to adopt. So that just makes things worse. So better for solving the situation is to be detached, just like in chess, as some of us know. You have to think so many moves ahead. You can't just look and say, okay, if I do this, I can capture his bishop, or I can, whatever. You look ahead and say, that's a trap. That's going to make my position worse. So just hold off and let it go, because there's a larger strategy for me to follow. But to do that, you have to be detached and forward thinking, or wise, or experienced. So Brahma's all of these things. He's forward thinking, he's experienced, he's wise, he's detached. So he's competent to advise Prithu Maharaj in this matter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's interesting how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur thought about this thing and said, why didn't you tell Indra to stop this? And I never thought about it. Nice, very nice. And then Brahma said, he's too stubborn. Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. And Pranay Prabhu says, argument. Some complains that the manager knows these discrepancies are happening, and yet they do not act on it. It may be said that Brahma is partial to Indra, for he might some personal gratification behind that. Same for the non-acting managers.
Yeah, this is the disadvantage of being what we call a backseat driver, a person who doesn't have the responsibility, but has all the right things, you know, oh, he should do this, he should do that, but it's not his duty. So rather than mind his own knitting, he wants to tell someone else how to do it. But we may not have all the information, or we may not get the strategy. And sometimes it may be true that the person is doing the wrong thing, and it may or may not be our duty to intervene. That one has to consider very carefully. But it's not just because we don't see something happening, there's not a plan in action, or inaction is not a valid plan. I saw there was an incident in Brooklyn, a sort of extended drama, really, where one of the GBC men, temple president, no, he wasn't the temple president, the GBC man became involved with a woman that he thought was a wealthy heiress, but wasn't, and it all went on into a big drama. And Prabhupada was so, what's the word? Circumspect. He was almost inscrutable on the matter. He didn't jump in and immediately, you know, pull the emergency handle and swoop down. And he very carefully handled it. He sent 2 or 3 men to determine what was going on and report to him. And he acted quite unexpectedly. Instead of, you know, busting the whole thing up as Maya, he married that sannyasi to the woman, and had a larger objective in mind than just smash and crash him. And it made the matter very difficult for those on the scene to understand. Is Prabhupada not doing something where they thought, well, maybe it's not a problem since Prabhupada's not objecting. So it was quite something to see how Prabhupada was slow to act. He didn't act impulsively or instinctively. He acted with great deliberation. So that's part of his transcendental expertise.
Panchatattva Prabhu says, didn't Prabhupada appreciate the devotee that at the temple who carried on their service in spite of the disturbance from the leader?
Yes, but he appreciated those who left also. They could not tolerate. They were real devotees. I think maybe even appreciated them more. There were devotees who, enough of this is Maya. And they just called it for what it was. And some of them, just took off and went elsewhere. And Prabhupada praised them that they were real devotees, therefore they could not tolerate. But he didn't condemn those who had stayed. Quite complex how Prabhupada dealt with it. Again, it was with such deftness and maturity, not just playing by a rule book, but with deeper thought.
Yeah, in many instances, Prabhupada really surprised us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Saraswati Mata had hands up.
Yes, I was just saying that, we're so prone to judging and dishing out judgments on others. And the devotees that may have left due to seeing the standard of bhakti not being carried out properly, or whatever reasons they were disappointed with the behavior of leaders, people say, oh, well, they're in Maya, but you have no idea, because that person who may have left, still, wherever they go, they're going to be seeing the hand of Krishna everywhere, even in their disappointment. So it's not to say that they've become completely divorced from thoughts, thinking, feeling, willing, and serving Krishna in other ways. You can't just make that judgment, oh, that person left, he's in Maya. You have no idea what they could be going through in terms of still wanting to serve Krishna. So I've heard this so much in our local temple here, because we've had a couple of incidences, some sannyasis, initiating gurus that left unceremoniously, and then some devotees were heartbroken and they did leave, but then it was just said, oh, that devotee's in Maya. I just think it's so dangerous to keep dishing out these kinds of judgments, because it's like the false ego. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So we are coming at the end, and I would like to invite Krishna Kaunteya Prabhu for your kirtan.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bol, Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale, Srimati Jayādvaita Swami Iti Namine, Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne, Nirvisesha Srinivadi Paskacha Deshtarne, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura, Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Sri Guru Angara Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Krishna Konde Prabhu, for your nice kirtan. Thank you all the devotees
Thank
for
you,
joining
sir.
us. And thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
Maharaj, for giving us your audience. His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Jai,
Yudha Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai,
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari
Hari,
Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Gurudev, Gurudev,
You.
Gurudev.
Thank you, Krishna Konte.
Hare Krishna,
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.